Hi lovelies, welcome back. So today I want to talk about, are we willing to be wrong? A few weeks ago I did a video about, are we willing to be curious? So are we willing to be open to possibility? Are we willing to see what we don't yet see? Are we willing to say, well, I don't know, but I'd like to find out? That's when we're looking at being willing to be curious. But the flip side to that is, are we willing to be wrong? Are we willing to be wrong about what we think we know? Are we willing to question our assumptions? Are we willing to actually kind of realize that just because our mind tells us something doesn't make it true? And really have that willingness that we might be wrong. We might believe things that aren't true. We might think things that aren't true. We might live in an experience that isn't necessarily what's actually going on. And all of that being willing to be wrong is really just opening the door for us having a different experience. And an example of this is I was flying home yesterday and I'm sitting, I've already boarded, so I'm sitting on the plane watching the other passengers come on from the tarmac onto the plane. And I see a young family with I don't know how old the kid was, but I'm guessing around one, an infant. And my first thought was, oh no, this plane ride is going to suck because I just know that this baby is going to cry the entire time and I'm going to have to listen to a crying baby for the full hour and just my luck, poor me, I'm already so tired, I just wanted to relax on the flight, blah, 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 blah. And when that came in, that absolutely felt real and true. Absolutely. I didn't catch it right away that I had thought that I could predict the future, that I thought that I already had sussed out what was happening. And, it was so subtle, it was so simple. I just instantly in that moment was like, I know how my experience of this flight's going to go because of that crying baby. Because not even he wasn't crying at this point. Because of that baby who I know when the cabin pressure changes will affect his eustachian tubes and cause him to cry. I had already had that figured out. And then miraculously, as insight happens, a thought occurred to me, well, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? What if he doesn't cry? Or what if he does cry and I don't notice it? Or what if I notice it but I don't care? Point is, I was previously, before having that thought about, well, what if I'm wrong, I was so bought into my reality. I was so attached, I was so convinced, I was so, 1-year-old plus flying at 25,000 feet equals crying baby equals me having to hear crying baby. I'm tired, I don't like the sound of crying babies, hence I'm going to have a bad time. And then when I realized I could be wrong, I said, well, I actually don't know how this flight's going to go. I have no idea what the baby's going to do. I have no idea what thoughts are going to occur to me. I have no idea what my state of mind is going to do. I have no idea any of the other unknown factors because the future is completely unknown. I have no idea what my experience is going to be at this flight. None. And the minute I had that insight, I realized, well, I could just get curious and find out. I could just, instead of assuming, oh, I know how this is going to go, I could just be in the moment and see what shows up. And because I don't have a crystal ball, because I'm not psychic, I can't definitively say that that's why I had a beautiful, lovely, blissful flight yesterday. But I'm willing to bet that that had a lot to do with it. And the reason I say that is because if I had already decided that, it was going to be miserable because of this crying baby, and if I'd already decided that, well, maybe if he doesn't cry, I'll be fine. But the minute I hear him fussing or crying, then I'm going to be miserable. Well, guess what was likely to happen? I would have been miserable. Why? Because I've already bought into the reality that says, well, that's just what you're going to feel and experience, so that's what you're going to get. But because I was willing to be wrong, I said, well, I don't know what I'm going to experience. And to tell you the truth, if the baby was crying or fussing, I didn't notice it. Here's what happened. Basically, I was like, I'm just going to be in the moment. And in the moment, it occurred to me that I wanted to listen to music and observe the gorgeous scenery. I don't know if you guys have ever had the pleasure of flying in BC, but it is absolutely stunning, especially December. Everything is snow-capped. The sun was out. It was this gorgeous, gorgeous sunny day, and I could see the golden reflection of the sun on the mountains. I could see just all of they call it well, here they call it the Kootenay Sea, but I'm sure it's called the sea anywhere, where you see all of the clouds that look like waves underneath these mountains that are coming out of basically the sea of clouds. And well, of course, above that, so everything was just stunning. And I had the most amazing hour looking at the landscape, listening to music, not a care in the world, not a thought in the world. Everything was just flowing. And it was only after, when I was getting off the plane, that I, because he was sitting up front, and I passed by and I realized, oh, right, there was a baby on this plane. And I couldn't tell you if he cried, I couldn't tell you if he fussed, I couldn't tell you what he was doing, because I was so in the moment. I was so in the now. I was so in what occurred to me to do. And in that moment, it occurred to me to sit there drinking my drink that they gave me. It was a Virgin Caesar, which I love, and just, looking at the gorgeous mountains and listening to my favorite music and just being in that moment. And while I can't know for sure, I can almost guarantee that if I had, really bought into, well, I know how this is going to be, I know how this is going to go, I know what I'm going to think, experience, feel, blah, 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 that I would have had a self-fulfilling prophecy and experience pretty close to that. Why? Because that would have been the focus. That would have been where my attention was on scanning the environment for noise, on scanning myself for feelings, on scanning my consciousness for what am I experiencing, what am I feeling, what's going on. And instead I just realized, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what's going to happen. So I can just relax into each moment, moment by moment by moment. What song am I going to play next? What view am I going to see next? What experience am I going to have next? What am I going to feel next? What am I going to think yet? I don't know, but I was willing to be wrong about what my mind said I would experience, to show up fresh and actually see, what did I experience? What was actually there when I'm there in the moment and not up in all of the craziness of my mind. So if you're curious to learn more, a podcast that I was featured in came out yesterday, I believe, and I'll link to that below. And in it, I expand on this about really our only job is to show up, being open and being willing to be wrong. And the rest is beautifully done for us. So if you're interested in more about this topic, then definitely give that a listen. And I will be back with you guys next week. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you find these videos helpful, please subscribe. And yeah, I'll be back with you guys next Friday. Take care.